All right, welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're going to wrap up our deep dive into the addictive brain, and we're going to do that by unpacking the incredibly powerful and honestly kind of deceptive lure of now. That force that can make the entire future just vanish. So how does that even work? Let's get into it. When it really comes down to it, addiction taps into something so deeply human. It's this hope, right? The hope that we can find a quick fix for that empty feeling inside, a way to just patch it over instantly. But, and this is a huge but, the brain solution comes with a hidden and very high price. Okay, so to really get a handle on that price tag, we've got to look at the deal our brain makes for any kind of reward. Now, on the surface, it seems totally straightforward. You do something that feels good, and your brain goes, great, here's your reward. Simple, right? Well, not exactly. Turns out this deal has some very serious fine print. So your brain's main job, its number one priority, is just survival. And to survive, it has to maintain balance. Scientists call this homeostasis. The best way to think about it is like your brain's default setting. It's not about feeling amazing or feeling terrible. It's about feeling, well, neutral okay. Just balanced. That's the baseline it's always trying to get back to. Okay, so here's where the deal starts. An addictive substance shows up and just, boom, it completely shatters that balance. It floods your brain with dopamine, creating this massive high. And the reason it feels so incredibly rewarding is because it's so far away from that normal, neutral, okay baseline. But here's the thing. Your brain is a survival machine. It's not just going to sit there and let itself be thrown off balance for long. Oh no, it immediately starts to fight back. And that reaction, that's the hidden price. That's the payback for that amazing dopamine rush. Just imagine there's a seesaw inside your head. When a substance comes in, it slams one side, the pleasure side, all the way to the ground. But your brain can't stand that imbalance. So to get back to homeostasis, it immediately starts pushing down, hard, on the other side, the pain side, to level things out. It's that classic physics principle, right? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And this really gets to the heart of it. There is absolutely no free lunch here. The brain will get its payback. And that counterpunch, that push towards pain, it doesn't just vanish when the drug wears off. It hangs around. It lingers. And that leaves you feeling anxious, irritable, way below that neutral okay baseline. And what are you craving then? The only thing that seems like it can bring you back up. So you see what's happening? This constant up and down, this pleasure-pain seesaw, it sets this incredibly dangerous trap. Because as that pain side gets stronger and lasts longer with each use, your brain's whole focus shifts. It's not about seeking pleasure anymore. It's about escaping the pain. It gets completely obsessed with the only thing that seems to matter, relief, right now. And this is where it gets really serious. As that pain and craving just keeps growing, the most primitive part of your brain, your survival center, the midbrain, it kicks into high gear. It literally starts to think it's in a life or death situation. And when that happens, it completely hijacks the parts of your brain that handle logic, consequences, long-term planning. Yeah, this analogy from Dr. Nicole Labor just explains it perfectly. Imagine you haven't had water for 5 days. Your frontal cortex, the part of you that cares about your job, your family, your future, it basically just shuts down. The only thing going on in your head is, I feel terrible, I'm dying, I have to fix this. The only thing that matters is water. It's not a choice at that point, it's a biological imperative. And this is what an addicted brain goes through, over and over again. So this desperate, survival-driven state creates what neuroscientists call the now appeal. And it's exactly what it sounds like. The future, it just disappears. It ceases to exist. All that matters is fixing the terrible feeling of right now. Your entire attention span just shrinks down into this tiny little tunnel, and it's pointed at the one and only thing that promises escape. So as you can imagine, this biological hijacking, it completely transforms the whole experience of addiction. The motivation shifts fundamentally. It goes from a simple desire for pleasure to a desperate, compulsive need for relief. Think about it like this. In the beginning, it's all about wanting. It's driven by that promise of feeling good, right? But as that pleasure-pain seesaw just keeps tipping further and further to the pain side, the whole motivation changes. It becomes about needing. You're not chasing a high anymore. You're just desperately running away from a low that keeps getting worse and worse. And get this need isn't just some internal feeling. Your brain gets so conditioned that the outside world basically becomes a minefield of triggers. Any little cue from your environment that's been linked to the substance, we're talking cocktail hour, a stressful moment at work, even a specific song, can instantly slam down that pain side of the seesaw, and that creates this intense, overwhelming craving to escape a misery that you know is coming. So, what's the big takeaway here? Why was all this matter? Well, understanding this neurological trap is everything. Because when you can see the mechanics behind it, when you see that it's a biological process, not some kind of moral failing, that's the first and most crucial step towards finding a way out. And this leads us to a really fascinating and super important point. This whole deceptive deal we've been talking about, the dopamine rush, the painful pushback, that now appeal trap, it turns out it's not just for substances. The exact same thing can happen with behaviors. But is the deal really the same? Is what's happening with our phones the same as what's happening with a drug? Well, that is the big question, isn't it? And that's exactly where we're headed next time. In our next explainer, we're going to dig into the surprising ways they're similar and the critical ways they're different when we look at substance versus behavioral addictions.